Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And it is right now Saturday morning where I am in Tokyo. And about a couple days ago, I understand that the Criterion Collection, the great people at the Criterion Collection, made their announcement, or the Criterion Collection made its announcement with regard to the planned titles, the planned physical media releases for May 2023, so a few months from now. They made their preliminary announcement in advance with regard to what it is they plan to release in May, later this year, 2023. And so if you want specific information, my dear friends, about those titles, about what they might be about in terms of a quick write-up on the plots of the films, the technical specifications, the list of special features planned to be included, the cover art that is currently being planned for such releases, etc., as well as information about other titles that might be found in the Criterion Collection, other filmmakers, other essayists, etc., then my strong suggestion is to check out the website. Please go to the website of the Criterion Collection directly, criterion.com, and please feel free to peruse and look through those write-ups and those entries on the great website, and you'll find some really wonderful information that, of course, will be, I hope, very helpful and informative with regard to, again, the May 2023 planned titles, as well as titles beyond that might be found in the Criterion Collection. But for purposes of today and this video, I'd like to share with you some initial thoughts and impressions that I have regarding this announcement. Again, bearing in mind that my impressions might change, and again, depending on when the item does arrive in the mail, because I will pre-order these, that if they arrive and I look through them and we explore them together, and my impressions might change, my comments might change, I might have to make some corrections or alterations in my viewpoints, etc. That may happen when the actual article arrives. But for now, these are preliminary, very sort of off-the-cuff and very casual and relaxed initial first impressions that I have regarding these titles. And so, my dear friends, if that's okay with you, let us, you and I, share what it is we feel about the May 2023 planned titles from the Criterion Collection. All right, so first up, scheduled for release, May 2nd, 2023, and this is for Spy Number 490. This is a film that is described as being from the year 1987 from the filmmaker-director Wim Wenders. This is a film that already exists in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog under a Blu-ray release and also a DVD release. But now, I think in May, we are going to get the occasion of the additional format option of 4K UHD disc plus Blu-ray disc combo option. And I'm speaking of this film, which is Wings of Desire. Please pardon the very poor presentation skills that I am displaying right now. If you want to get better high-quality resolution pictures, please check out the Criterion Collection website directly for such availability. But for the time being, let me use this as my means of trying to describe my initial impressions of this announcement. Of course, this already exists in the Criterion Collection, so I think on a really sturdy and reliable and high-quality Blu-ray. It's a great release of a great film. If you have not seen Wings of Desire, what are you waiting for? Really, this is an enchanting, highly emotional, highly resonant, very clever film. It rests on a very cleverly designed and rendered conceit, a cinematic conceit. It rests upon those laurels very comfortably, but it does so also while shining in a type of emotional and earnest and intimate story, as a type of romance or love story that is very heartwarming, very detailed and very, very relatable and accessible. At the same time, giving us this almost otherworldly or ethereal, or dare I say it, heavenly type of cinematic conceit. Oh my goodness, what a film this is. What a lovely film this is, my dear friends, compañero. And so, with that, my dear friends, Wings of Desire, if you haven't seen this film, please check it out. You can already find it, I think, on the Criterion Collection on a great option of a Blu-ray or DVD option. So you can watch it right now, in fact. Or you can, if you so choose, wait for this 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo that, again, is being planned for release by Criterion in May 2023. So with that, my dear friends, let us, when the item arrives, let us examine this together. And again, I don't know to what extent we will see any type of, say, discernible difference between the 4K UHD disc presentation and the Blu-ray disc presentation. So, my dear friends, what does this mean in terms of those who already have the film on, say, a really reliable physical media release, like the current Criterion Blu-ray, for example, or the DVD format, for example? Do I or don't I get the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo? And that's a good question. That's something that I want to try to explore when the item does arrive, because I do appreciate the fact that, on the one hand, 4K UHD is a really exciting format, especially for people who are really into physical media. I really understand that. I truly do. At the same time, or in the same breath, we have to understand, too, that it's not an inexpensive venture to take to try to go for the 4K UHD option all the time, right? It's quite expensive, especially if we're talking about a film that we already have. Now, Criterion, and indeed Criterion isn't the only label that does this. There are other labels out there that do this. When they go the 4K UHD quote-unquote upgrade route, in other words, they have a currently sitting title in their catalog that's on a really good Blu-ray, but then they release the 4K UHD option a little bit later down the road, but with no extra supplements or anything, no extra difference apart from the format or presentation. Okay, is that alone enough to warrant or merit the additional purchase of the 4K UHD option or not? I think we have, over the course of this journey of the 4K UHD format, I think we have begun, or at least I have begun, to realize that it really is a type of case-by-case situation. Sometimes it might be worth it. Sometimes it might be better to close the wallet and say thanks, but no thanks. So maybe we might find that type of conversation. We've already had that conversation already with past Criterion 4K UHD releases of titles that already exist on really great Blu-ray options, right? I think, for example, let's say a film like, say, Blowout comes to mind, or Night of the Living Dead comes to mind as examples. And now I think Wings of Desire, the 4K UHD release from Criterion in May, I think will also belong in that same conversation. And so let us have that conversation when we are able to down the road. And who knows, maybe depending on our viewpoints and our own situations, maybe we might come to different conclusions. I might, at the end of the day, in that conversation, come to one conclusion, and you, my dear friends, or compañero, at the end of the day, might reach a different conclusion. But that's okay. That's okay, because, again, to each their own in terms of one's own cinema journey, and that's fantastic. And indeed, if at the end of the day you are so enamored with this film that you are seeking, for instance, the 4K UHD option, let us at least, my dear friends, you and I, talk about that and other things when this title arrives. It'll be a wonderful opportunity to speak about this film, which, again, I love so dearly, and also to, again, talk about the format option as well. And I, too, will consider my own view when I watch the 4K UHD option and see what it is I feel about this when I get. I guess, I'm also coming at this, I should point out, I will get this. I pre-order the Criterion titles. I don't get any screeners or anything, but I pre-order the Criterion titles, and they come via the online pre-orders. So it's not a question for me personally about whether I should get the 4K UHD option or not. I was about to say the word upgrade, but I didn't mean that. So whether I should get the 4K UHD option or not, but I usually always opt for that no matter what with Criterion because I'm a big fan of Criterion. But needless to say, I do appreciate that conversation, and so I will keep that in mind when it comes time to talk about this film. Of course, also keeping in mind other great points about this work, again from Wim Wenders, which is Wings of Desire. Next, scheduled for release May 9th, 2023, and this is for spine number 38. And oh my goodness, I mentioned spine number 38 because look what's over my shoulder. There happens to be the very, very early version of the the DVD release, which itself takes its cover art cues from the Laserdisc release of this film, which is again spine number 38, and it currently exists therefore in the Criterion Collection in yet another separate great Blu-ray release as well. This is the film from Seijun Suzuki, the wonderfully inventive and wholly individual and truly unique, one-of-a-kind genius artist, oftentimes regarded or maybe described maybe in the general consensus as being a type of brilliant genius maverick artist in every positive sense of that phrase. Seijun Suzuki. This is a work which is from the year 1967, and it is his masterpiece, or one of his masterworks. That is Branded to Kill. Branded to Kill. So the English title is Branded to Kill. Once again, here is how it looks on this iPad presentation. It already exists in the Criterion Collection, and it existed in the Criterion Collection in past versions, and it now currently exists, present tense, in the Criterion Collection on, say, a Blu-ray with the same cover art design as what you see on the screen here. And it's a great Blu-ray of a great film. But now, on the occasion of May 9th, we will get a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo edition of this. And it says here, new 4K digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack. But with no other details about that. So we'll have to see, again, what, if any, differences there may be, with regard to the 4K UHD presentation, disc presentation, and the current sitting great Blu-ray disc presentation. And that also includes supplements, because I don't see any discernible difference also in terms of supplemental features. It looks like we're getting the same, except, therefore, we have the 4K UHD option now being made available for the film itself. Okay, so again, like before with Wings of Desire, we're going to have that same conversation, right, as to whether or not, quote-unquote, is it really worth it to get the 4K UHD option, considering we already have a really great, reliable Blu-ray option, or is it probably better to close one's wallet and say thank you, but no thanks. So again, we'll have that discussion with this release, as we have done with other past releases, as I'm sure we will with future releases similar to this from the Criterion Collection. So let's table that conversation for another day when the item actually arrives. But for the time being, Branded to Kill, this film from Seijun Suzuki is, I would say, one of the most emblematic films of Japanese cinema of the 1960s. It is therefore, probably one of the most landmark films of Japanese cinema of the 1960s, and indeed of the 20th century, in my view, because it says so much about the unbridled creativity, almost the unyielding and perhaps almost uncontrollable creativity of Seijun Suzuki, in light of, or perhaps in face of, or perhaps in contravention of many of, say, the financial or studio forces that were at work during the Japanese cinema industry in the 1960s, in which he found himself. And this also forms the basis of one of the great aspects of his filmmaking career and biography, Seijun Suzuki's. in terms of how this film impacted his career in the short run, and also how it impacted his career in the long run. And indeed, I make stress on the latter point, which is the long run longevity of this film, because indeed, time has indeed showed us, and history has shown us, just how much of an impact this film has made, makes, and indeed will continue to make. This is a one-of-a-kind extravaganza to the max. It is a surreal experimental nightmare that's also a comedy, that's also this mystery thriller. This is also a type of it is a thriller film. It's also this action adventure film that is, again, so much of a genre bender and a mind bender, so as to be totally and very absorbingly and comprehensively titillating to its core, and quite sincerely, it operates as a type of sensory explosion for one's own cinema journey. It is a truly one-of-a-kind film. From a truly one-of-a-kind filmmaker, it is wholly, wholly, wholly exciting to its very core. And I, for one, am so excited that May will provide us with yet another opportunity to visit and revisit this brilliant film, Branded to Kill. So again, when that release comes, we can, of course, have the conversation about the 4K UHD presentation, how we feel about it. But together with that, let us also talk about and celebrate the brilliance of this work from Seijun Suzuki. If you haven't seen this yet, my goodness, it already exists in the Criterion Collection, so you have your opportunity right now, my dear friends, to go check it out. But if you want to wait for the 4K UHD option and what it has in store, please, in May, once again, let us come together, my dear friends, and talk about this wonderful, wonderful work, which is Branded to Kill. Next, scheduled for release on May 16th, 2023, we have the film which is described as being from the year 1968, and this is designated for spine number 1179. This is from the filmmaker Peter Bogdanovich, and it is this film, which is Targets, and Targets stars Boris Karloff as well as among others in the great cast. And this is a great example of Bogdanovich cinema, of American cinema, of the type of cinema from the 60s that excites and jolts and surprises and scares even. It has a sense of the frightening, as well as a sense of a type of social fabric history, as well as a sense of the experimental, almost wonderful aesthetic of the independent movie-making spirit of Peter Bogdanovich and company, while being so riveting and so engaging and so meta as to be a commentary on all fronts. What a memorable film this is. This is the work, again, wow, it's going to be in the Criterion Collection. It's the film that is Targets. Wow. It's going to be, again, here, a new 2K digital restoration supervised by Bogdanovich with uncompressed monaural sound, along with other supplements, including a 2003 commentary track, which is carried over. This is great. So, and I should say the format, it's a Blu-ray option or a DVD option. And so this is very, very welcome news indeed. And then I should point out, too, that Targets is being made available on the Blu-ray option and also on the DVD option. This makes me very, very happy indeed. You know, I will opt for the Blu-ray option. The Blu-ray option, again, based on this new 2K digital restoration. So I'm very happy about this. But I should also point out that the DVD option, making the DVD option available, is something that I love. I think it's also very important. You know, I appreciate that there might be some consumers who will only go for the Blu-ray and 4K UHD, and then maybe in that discussion, maybe the DVD format might be, and I don't mean this in any disparaging way, might be looked down upon as a non-preferred choice. And if one has that viewpoint, I totally respect that, because again, it's your cinema journey, and it's at the end of the day, it's your dollars that is going into making the purchase of the films that you end up wanting to watch. And so good for you for wanting to get the best possible option, the best bang for your buck. Right? So you should, of course, get the option that you rely upon. For me, I will get the Blu-ray option. Now, that being said, I also very much value and champion the availability of DVD, and I think it's really important to keep it as alive and as robust as possible. Because, among many things, because the DVD option is an option that, again, I know a lot of people rely on in a very fundamental and regular way. And for a lot of people too, the DVD option is I think it's a reasonable price point, especially when compared to the maybe more expensive Blu-ray and now 4K UHD options. DVD remains a very reasonable price point. Also, not just Targets, but maybe just considering DVD options writ large. Sometimes, and many times, we'll see DVD titles that aren't available yet on Blu-ray or 4K UHD, or maybe we'll get different versions. Sometimes we'll get somewhat alterations or changes made to films, and then they're released on new 4K or Blu-rays. And sometimes maybe we won't even be told of the changes, but that might make the DVD pre-change versions, for example, more desirable in the long run. Also, you might get certain special features that are only available on these earlier releases and not made available for whatever reason on, say, later 4K or Blu-ray releases, etc., etc. So these are, of course, other considerations to keep in mind when we think of the robustness of the DVD market overall. Now, in consideration of maintaining the DVD format alive for new releases like Targets and other Criterion and non-Criterion releases alike, I would say, too, that I love physical media. I really love physical media. And one of the aspects of that is I want to, where possible, share that with as many people as possible. In particular, people who might not necessarily be in the physical media camp yet. So Blu-rays are great. 4K UHD discs are great. I love them. Right? But DVDs also are great. And one of the reasons I think that they are great is they provide a great, robust, high-quality option for watching the film on a physical media release that is reasonably priced, and oftentimes very, very great price, very cheap, so relatively speaking. And so this then affords the opportunity to spread the word, to spread the joy to those who might be, as of yet, not yet knowing what the joys of physical media are. This is a great way, a great entry point into the world of physical media. And so I, for one, would like to see DVD championed as much as possible, and DVD given the attention that it deserves. And to again, I'm always reminded of just how important it remains as a fundamental block of the physical media consumable market. So for these and other reasons, I champion DVD. I love these options, and if we can get as much attention continued with the DVD format by Criterion and others, I will be very happy indeed. So that is my talk about the DVD format, and I'm happy about that in the connection with this new release from Criterion in May, which is of Targets. Next up, scheduled for release, May 23rd, 2023, and this is the work which is for spine number 1181. It is the film by Céline Sciamma from the year 2021, and it is this work which is Petit Mamon. Once again, I apologize profusely for the poor presentation skills, especially for this cover art design because of the glare. I hope you can forgive me. That's, once again, my appeal to you to check the Criterion Collection website directly for better resolution pictures of the cover art design with regard to this release, again, for May 23rd. I have not seen this film, Petit Mamon. I have heard some things about it, so I know maybe the general introductory gist of the film, but nothing more. I have heard many things from, say, dear friends like you who have mentioned it to me, recommended it to me in comments or in messages, etc. And I do know Sugiyama's work in particular, or perhaps of an exemplary note, work like Portrait of a Lady on Fire. So with that type of, say, limited background that I have on Petit Mamon, when it does arrive in the mail with the pre-order, again in late May, I'm looking forward to my first time watch of this indeed. So thank you very much for all of your enthusiasm for Sugiyama's work, in particular Petit Mamon, and I will try to engage with the work on those terms as well as my own cinema journey when the title arrives. So Petit Mamon, one title that I have not yet seen of the May 2023 release announcements. But with regard to this, I note it's a Blu-ray option or a DVD option, which is great. A 4K digital master with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio, which is also great, with a list of supplemental features as well. So we shall examine these and other points when the title arrives. Once again, this is scheduled for release on May 23rd for spine number 1181, the work by Céline Sugiyama, which is Petit Mamon. Last, but certainly not least, we have the title, which is scheduled for release May 30th, 2023. And this is being offered on a 4K UHD Blu-ray combo or a Blu-ray release. And it is a work which is going to be designated spy number 1180. And this is described as being a film from the year 1991. The filmmaker is Ridley Scott. And the name of the work is Thelma and Louise. So once again, a Ridley Scott film, Thelma and Louise, will be coming to the Criterion Collection in late May on the option of the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo package or the Blu-ray package. Excuse me. I don't see any DVD option here, unfortunately, but anyway, those are the options with regard to this planned release from Criterion. Wow, indeed. This is, I believe, this is the first Ridley Scott directed film in the physical media catalog, the Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K UHD catalog of Criterion, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, for those who know the Laserdisc era, you will note a film like Blade Runner used to be a great Criterion Laserdisc, or Laserdiscs, as the case may be. But for purposes of the current physical media catalog from Criterion, we have this Ridley Scott directed film. And my goodness, what a film this is. Thelma and Louise. This is one of my favorite Ridley Scott films. It is a type of road movie. It is a type of friendship movie, a friend or buddy road movie. It is so well realized, well rendered because of the ease of entry, the sort of accessibility of the story matter, or the way the story is structured, and of course the great performances by Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis, who are just they inject so much life and energy into the story. Callie Curry, of course, with the story and the screenplay, and of course Ridley Scott directly. And so this is what a great film this is. I love this film so much. It is one of my favorite Ridley Scott films, and it hit that area of the late 80s, early 90s sweet spot of types of films that were high profile, almost these kind of studio pictures, but had this type of independent filmmaking spirit to it. And so this film came in that era of early 90s sort of Hollywood cinema. And so it's a great example of that, and it has that sweet spot. It hits that sweet spot so well as being such a beautifully rendered film with lively characters and an energy, led, of course, by Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis. What a great film this is, Thelma and Louise. I'm so excited that this film is coming to the Criterion Collection. I'm so excited that a Ridley Scott film like this is coming to the physical media Blu-ray 4K UHD catalog of Criterion. Oh my goodness, what great news this is. I should note also that we have a new 4K digital restoration supervised by director Scott with 5.1 DTS or surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. And then we have the 4K UHD disc presented in Dolby Vision HDR and 2 Blu-rays with the film and special features. So this sounds like it's going to be a packed release. And we have 2 audio commentaries listed, new interviews with Scott and Callie Khoury. We have some other features, including a short film from Ridley Scott, etc. So, Boy and Bicycle, wow, fantastic. So, and then documentaries that have also been made as well as other features. So, new and also archival. So, in any event, my dear friends, this is, I think, one of those. This is looking to be one of those packed releases. You know, we get those fairly often. In terms of a packed release, I mean, Wall-E from the end of last year comes to mind. Malcolm X from the end of last year comes to mind. And so maybe Thelma and Louise will continue on in that sort of tradition or spirit of a packed release that is accompanying a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo of a new title. And this time, that being Thelma and Louise. We shall see what the actual item has in store for us. But from the looks of things on the website and this announcement, this is shaping out to be a very exciting prospect indeed. My goodness. Thelma and Louise is coming to the Criterion Collection. The Ridley Scott film is coming to the Criterion Collection. This great film, Callie Khoury, and starring Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis and others, coming to the Criterion Collection. My goodness, this is really exciting. Really exciting indeed. So, my dear friends, let us explore this film and this release once again, you and I together, when it arrives. And it is this film, which is scheduled for release once again on May 30th, 2023. And it is Thelma and Louise. My dear friends, so that is my thoughts about, or preliminary thoughts about these releases that are planned for May 2023. I should point out a number of things, which is, of course, there are a number of 4K UHD offerings that are being made available, which is great on the one hand. On the other hand, of course, we shall see if there are any discernible differences or enticements with the, say, currently existing titles that are getting a 4K UHD re-release. We shall have to examine, you and I, and have a conversation as to whether the new offering is an enticement enough to go for that new format option or not. Again, considering the very already currently existing great, robust Blu-ray and DVD offerings that are already within the Criterion Collection to begin with. But that is, again, an ongoing conversation, and not just for Criterion, but also for other non-Criterion physical media labels across the board. So we'll keep that in mind. But in any event, regardless of where we find ourselves at the end of the day with that conversation, we are still given the opportunity to celebrate and revisit great films like Wings of Desire, like Branded to Kill. My goodness, this is great. Plus, for me, I should point out personally, I'm very excited for Petit Mamon. This will be my first time to watch this film, the Sciamma work. So I'm looking forward to this with a great deal of anticipation as well. And we have the 2 films that are also, in their own special ways, very, very special to me. Targets and Thelma and Louise. My goodness. What an exciting lineup. If you haven't seen these or the other films, this is a great opportunity to do so. So, wow. Again, I'm just rethinking back on my initial watches of these films respectively, Thelma and Louise and Targets, and in their own ways, I'm getting chills right now. I'm thinking about those initial watches and then just watching them again and again over the years. And now Criterion is giving us yet another opportunity to watch these films. My goodness. I feel very spoiled indeed. So thank you very much for giving me that feeling of elation. I should point out, too, that I note that there are some titles that, again, like we have seen, well, let me just take another step back here and let me say we're not seeing necessarily any collector's sets, and so this might be conspicuous to some. I'm always on the lookout for a box set or collector's set from Criterion. and I'd be very eager to see what 2023 has in store in terms of that. As many of those sets as possible, if we can see them, fingers crossed, that would be great. Another thing too is I do, as I mentioned, like the DVD format attention that is being given. It's not being given for every single release. I understand that, but as much attention that can be given to the DVD format by Criterion as possible is much, much appreciated. And again, I, for one, believe that we should very much champion and support the DVD format where we can, because it is very robust and very important for a lot of reasons, in terms of historical significance, as well as current market considerations, as well as, among other things, being a great way for people to experience and re-experience the majesty and wonder that is the physical media movie-going experience. So I'm glad to see Criterion and others, in fact, keeping this great format, the DVD format, alive and well. So it would be great to see it for all releases, but again, the attention that's being given in this manner is, of course, it should be noted very positively, which I try to do. Also, I should point out that I like to see commentary tracks being made available. I know that we don't get every release with a commentary track, or maybe sometimes a release might seem to be somewhat looking less than stellar when it comes to the quantity of supplements, etc. So that'll be another consideration and discussion point going forward with these and other releases, of course. But let me just say that I, for one, let's just take the commentary track for an example. I, for one, am always reminded of the brilliance of the commentary track, if for anything, because in the context of Criterion, as some of you may know, we saw the commentary track given great life and great robustness all the way back in the Laserdisc days, the early Laserdisc days, which is in many ways one of the early aspects of physical media history and Criterion history, all the way back to the early release of Criterion's King Kong, when we got the audio essay, as it was called, or the audio, now we understand it, audio commentary track, which is still a great commentary track, by the way, for a lot of reasons. But that now paves the way for what we now understand to be the commentary track that is being made available on a whole wide range of labels. And so it can be, we can have a kind of historical through line through Criterion's history itself, between what we see now and the great Criterion historical past. Now, in that spirit, it is always my hope that Criterion and others will make as many commentary tracks available as possible with all of their releases, or as many releases as possible, because if one thing we know is certain, it's that the cinema journey and the exploration of cinema is so lovely and so valuable and so vibrant. And one of the ways we are reminded of this is that we can always have discussions, ongoing discussions in real time. And what better way, in the context of physical media releases, what better way to enjoy such ongoing real-time discussion format than the commentary component? And so that is my appeal to Criterion and others, to say, yes, let us champion and let us continue, where possible, to include as many commentary tracks where we can, whether they be carried over from previous releases, like, say, the Target's release, etc., or whether they are created from whole new cloth. And I don't know what the mechanics are in terms of a creation of a commentary track. I'm not in the room when those decisions are made. I don't have the expertise or wherewithal or knowledge base to be able to know the mechanics or the technical aspects or the budgetary concerns when creating a commentary track. So I'm speaking from a very limited, in place from very limited exposure, I grant you that. But I'm also speaking from a place of, say, I love the Criterion Collection as a consumer, as a customer, and as a viewer of cinema, and as a person who relies on Criterion to supplement and complement and also support and be there for me in terms of my own personal cinema journey. And so in that regard, I always hope that the commentary track, as well as other great supplements, but let's take the commentary track as an example today. It is my hope that the commentary track will remain a vibrant and energetic and continuing and ongoing source of supplemental information to be provided on as many Criterion releases as possible. And so that's my 2 cents on the commentary track. And so, my dear friends, that is it as far as my comments go for these May 2023 releases. But those are just my own thoughts, and I'm just but one person. Most importantly, though, is what you think, and what are your thoughts and impressions and comments with regard to these and other aspects of the Criterion collection. If you like, you can leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section below and share them with me and share them with everyone here. So please, my dear friends, let me know what you think. But in the meantime, thank you, and I very much hope that this video finds you well. And until the next one, please be happy and healthy and well. Let me say that again. Until the next video, and there will be a next video, but until then, my dear friends, please be happy and healthy and well. And when you've taken care of that, please continue to watch a lot of great movies. I'll see you at the next video, my dear friends. Until then, cheers.